I know I don't look much like a masterpiece. I look different. I look different from many of you. I'm good looking. I drive a Lincoln Town Car. It's a burgundy. And a few years ago, I bartered a deal in Michigan to have my trailer, which is a 5x8 utility trailer, painted to match the car. A week later, I was in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Anybody from North Carolina here? Good, I can say this. Oh, we have one? Where?
Over there.
Where are you from?
Greensboro.
Greensboro, I'm sorry. I was pulling into the Haynes Mall. You know where that is, right?
I do.
Yes. Well, I was pulling into one of those double pull-through parking spaces, and I encountered one of North Carolina's indigenous species, the redneck. Now, Jeff Foxworthy says you might be a redneck if you wear a belt buckle with your initials on it. Check. He also says you might just be a redneck if you wear a tank top and your armpit hairs show. Check. This woman scored on both. So I'm getting out of the car, and she's standing right by my left headlight, and she starts to speak. And she sounded just like a Southern Edith Bunker. Remember from All in the Family? She said, "Amazing how you was able to find a trailer the same color as your car." I turned and looked at the trailer, and I looked back at her, and I said, "No, ma'am." I said, "What's more amazing is I bought the car because it was the same color as the trailer." She said, "No kidding." And you think I'm handicapped. People think you're handicapped because of the way you walk, talk, act, dress, or do things. Kids are great. When a little kid's going to stare at you, he's going to flat out stare at you. Had this one little guy, about 5 years old, comes up to me and he points to my hook, and he asked me, he says, "Is that cool or what?" $47,000 this arm cost. My leg cost $10,000. It cost an arm and a leg to make an arm and a leg. But he pointed my hook and he said, "What's that?" And I said, "It's a hook." "What you got that for?" I said, "Because I don't have any hands." "Why don't you have any hands?" I told him I used to bite my fingernails, and one day I went too far. He hadn't bigger clipped his fingernails since the boys got claws. People think you're handicapped because of the way you walk, talk, act, dress, or do things. The question comes to my mind is, are you handicapping yourself? Are you keeping yourself from winning? Now, I know you're thinking handicaps and braces and wheelchairs and crutches, but let me give you a different definition. You see, a real handicap isn't about any of those things. A real handicap is anything that keeps me from becoming or being all that I can be. Think about that. Now, I said in the beginning, I'm a masterpiece. I believe it because I understand. I know who I am, and I know what my gifts are. So let me start out by telling you a little story. You see, I believe that there are three things you need to know. All that I can be, I can be. I have potential. I have possibilities. I am somebody. My name is Jeffrey David Steinberg. And I was that terrible thing that happened to Irving and Ruthie Steinberg 64 years ago. I was born with no arms, mangled, malformed legs. The doctors didn't think I would live. And my mom didn't know anything about my disability until I was almost 17 months old. You can keep a secret in a hospital for an awful long time. We're waiting for tests. We're waiting for results of tests. We're waiting for the doctor. And after a while, you start to wonder if whatever it is that they're not telling you is so terrible that maybe you just wish it would go away. My mom was standing in the kitchen dicing something for dinner. And my grandma came in and she sat down at the kitchen table behind her. And in her broken Lithuanian accent, she said, "Ruthie, he's alive." My mom put the knife down and she just leaned back against the counter and she said, "Mom, why won't they let me see him? Is he ugly?" I think maybe she might have thought that I was retarded, facially deformed. My grandmother stood up and she walked over and she put her arm around her and said, "No, Ruthie, he's not ugly. He's beautiful." My mom and my dad and my oldest sister Linda and my new baby sister Cheryl came to see me for the very first time. I was almost 2 years old. Not long after that, I was placed into the care of a children's welfare shelter and back in the hospital. I was placed into the care of Shriners Hospital for Crippled Children in Philadelphia. And there they operated on my legs to straighten them. And they discovered there was no joint in my right knee, this leg. So they fused the leg back together stiff. They cleaned away valuable growth tissue. And I'll always be 4 feet 6 inches tall. Michael Jordan, eat your heart out. I learned to do all kinds of things with my feet. I learned to write with my feet. You write with your feet? I used to suck my big toe. I even learned to feed myself with my feet. How about it, Keith? Can you feed yourself with your feet?
No.
No?
No.
Can you get your feet to your mouth?
No. I was thinking about the flexibility, not that good.
That's not what I was told. I was told you were pretty good at putting your feet in your mouth. Well, there goes my pay. 5.5 years in and out of Shriners Hospital, 25 to 35 plus operations. And one day the doctors came and they said, "Jeffrey, we can't do anything more with you till you stop growing." So I told them to give it a week. And I got to go home. It was a dream come true. My life was going to be perfect. I was going to be a brother to now 3 sisters. My life was going to be normal. I was going to be like other kids. You know what I learned? I learned that life is rarely ever perfect. And normal is a setting on a dryer. I only got to live at home a total of 9 months. Because it was hard for my mom and dad to take care of me and 3 girls, it was the girls that were the problem. It's always the girls that are the problem. So after 9 months, I was placed in a foster home for 6 weeks. And then I was moved to a home for the kids with disabilities and old people in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Halloween Day, 1960. But while I was there, I learned a truth. I learned that I am made to be awesome and wonderful. You see, it has nothing to do with prosthetics or braces or wheels. All that I can be, I can be. Let's see, I'm a singer, I'm a speaker, I'm a humorist, I'm a narrator, I'm a recording artist, I'm a producer, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a grandfather, I'm incredibly talented, very, very cute, and mostly humble. All that I can be, I can be. And when you know that, you've taken the first step to winning. Why? Why not just teach me better business principles? Why not just teach me deeper inroads into the business? Because if you don't like who you are, there is nobody who's going to want what you have to offer. If you don't believe it, you can't sell it. Because when you do business, the first thing you sell is you. All that I can be, I can be. That leads me to the second one. Now, once I know that it's a possibility, all that I can be, I... What do you think? Not yet. Not yet. What do you think?
You stole mine.
Give it back. It didn't work anyway. What do you think?
I think candy.
We already did candy.
I know, so I got nothing.
All that I can be, I must be. You see, once you know that you can, it no longer becomes an option. It has to become a mandate. Because to settle for anything else is to settle for less. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I know enough about Keith from having just met him to know that less is never good enough. That's why I'm here. Because no matter what struggles you face, no matter how discouraged you get, the choice is yours to either sit back and whine, or in my case, live in an institution provided by the state, or understand that now that I know I can, I have to do more. I have to be more. I must be. That brings me to the third point. Anybody got any guesses on the third point? Don't be shy. We already hit it once. Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. All that I can be, I choose to be. Because you gotta want it bad enough not to care what anybody thinks. And ladies and gentlemen, therein lies the one thing that will kill everything. If you don't want it bad enough, if you're not willing to make the choice to go after it, if you don't believe that you are worth it to the degree that you want it so bad that nothing else matters, I wanted to drive a car. When I was 15 years old, I wanted to drive a car in the worst kind of way. And if you ask any of the guys that have traveled with me through the years, they will tell you that is exactly how I drive.
Yep.
In the worst kind of way. I pulled into the state trooper's barracks in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and I walked up to the trooper and I handed him my learner's permit, and he looked up at me and he looked down at the learner's permit and he looked up at me, and then he grabbed his clipboard and he said, "Let's go." And I knew I was in trouble when he counted the wheels to make sure there were 4. He got in the car, and we did all the things that you do in Pennsylvania. The figure 8, the serpentine, the U-turn, the K-turn. Anybody know what a K-turn is? 3-point turn. That's right. You turn, you back up, you turn, but your wheels are not allowed to touch the curb on either side. I did all of that. And then he said, "Let's go out on the highway. US 22 in Pennsylvania, the most dangerous highway in the Northeast. If you're not doing 65 by the time your nose gets on the ramp, you will be by the time your rear end gets off." So we drove all around the city, and we pulled back in, and as I was pulling in, I looked at him, and I said to him, "Did I pass? Did I pass? Did I pass?" And he looked over at me and rather dignified like he said, "Passed." And apparently so had he. Because when he got out of the car, there was a spot on the seat. And you think I'm handicapped. Now you got all 3 of these, and you got all that I can be, I can be. You got all that I can be, I must be. And then you got all that I can be, I choose to be. And you put it all together, and then you get all that I can be, I shall be. Yeah. That's the moment of resolve. I can do that. Walk up to Keith and say, "Whatever you need, I can do that." Tell each other, this is going to be the greatest year ever, because we can do that together. All that I can be, I can be, because I'm a masterpiece. Now, a masterpiece isn't always pretty close up. And a masterpiece has dark colors. And a masterpiece has shades of gray and brown and deep blues. But a masterpiece also has the reds and the oranges. I'm a masterpiece. And when you feel like anything less, you remember me. Short guy with no arms, who wants you to know you don't have to have arms and perfect legs to be a winner. You can win if you believe. But if you don't believe, you'll never get out of the starting gate. It's that simple. It's that clear. So here's what